Did you try to break up? Did you try to move on, but you found yourself back in the old relationship? The one you tried to move on from and the one you know in your heart is not good for you. Are you wondering why you went back in the first place? Because nothing's changed? Are you wondering what it takes to make this the last time you go back? This video can really help you to understand these thoughts, the reasons why you went back, and how to move on and make this the last time you relapse. Hey there, I'm glad to see you today because today we're going to be talking about why we relapse back into that old relationship. Why did we go back in the first place? That's a big key question. Why do we go back, right? Another question is, what can we do personally within ourselves to make this the last time we go back? Because if you have relapsed into an old relationship at this point in time, you're probably feeling the same pain and going through the same drama and the same toxicity you went through the last time. And so this video can help you to really understand that, to understand our programming patterns, and to make you more powerful in the situation so that you can actually live to your highest potential. The first reason why we go back is because we cannot stop thinking about them. We just can't. The biggest problem is that we ourselves are not even a thought in our own mind. We find ourselves thinking about them constantly. What are they doing? Who are they with? Are they sad? Do they want to get back together? How are they feeling? We're constantly wondering about their emotions, their actions, where they are, who they're with, and we don't really ever take the time to think about how we feel. How did it feel to let go of that relationship? How did that feel to move on? What are our emotions? What are our feelings, right? And so that's one of the main reasons we go back, is because we put all of our mind share into them. The second reason why we go back into these relationships that don't allow us to live to our highest potential, aka toxic relationships, is because we don't see our value outside of a relationship. And I'm not just talking about this relationship. We just don't see our value as a human being outside of being in a relationship. Many of us find ourselves, and we kind of define ourselves as the fixer, the giver, or even the savior. And the person that we're in the relationship becomes, well, kind of a project. And that project allows us to do what? To not focus on our own personal problems, right? Because a lot of times when we get into a relationship and we find someone that we can save and they become a project to us, usually they have many issues, lots of issues. And so it really takes up a lot of our time and energy, right? And so when we have a project like that, instead of working on ourselves, guess what? We work on them. It's a lot easier to understand other people's problems. It's a lot easier to solve their problems, right? And so many times, more often than not, because of the way we were raised, we believe that our value is based on saving other people. And that's why we usually go back in these relationships, because we either think we didn't do enough, or maybe we didn't do the right thing, or maybe we just didn't give the relationship enough time. We have to go through the tough times to find that good time. And so we rush back thinking, well, we can save it, we can change it, but we don't realize it goes back to us not seeing our value separate from another person. The third reason we go back is that we are bored and lonely being on our own. We find ourselves sitting on the couch, watching TV, being on social media, playing on Instagram. The list goes on, but we're scared to be alone. We like being with somebody, even if it's tough and challenging, right? Because we don't have to be alone. It's not quiet. That fear of being alone allows us to stay in a lot of these relationships. It's like we get alone, we leave the relationship because we know it's not good for us, and a few days and a few weeks later, it's like, oh my gosh, I can't handle it. I'm sad, I'm lonely, I'm scared, and I'm bored. But why is that? Well, the main reason is that we haven't ever done any work to figure out who we are. We've never even become a friend to ourselves, or even kind of know ourselves, much less be a friend. And what's happened here is that we've gone from relationship to relationship, learning about these other people, but never exploring ourselves. And so we become kind of like a shell of a person. And so when we are alone, we don't know what to do with ourselves. We've never spent time with ourselves. We've never cultivated a relationship with ourselves. And we never even knew that cultivating a relationship with ourselves was something we're supposed to do. We didn't realize that that's the purpose of our life, right? Everybody talks about purpose being this lofty thing, like to change the world or to find the cure for cancer. But really the purpose is to figure out who we are and why we're here, and to understand how to actually accept ourselves and unconditionally love ourselves. But most of the time we spend no time doing that. We're trying to fix other people and trying to love other people, and in the practice actually not loving ourselves. The fourth reason we usually go back is because what? We can fixate on the other person. We can fix the other person. But if not, guess what? We can blame the other person. We can fixate on them and fixate on their problems. We can focus on what they can change in their life to make their life better. And we can do that, and also we deflect the energy that we need to do that for ourselves. Because remember, our problems seem a lot bigger, right? And we don't really want to see those, but we see ourselves as solving someone else's issues. But lastly, if we can't fix them, we actually have someone to blame for us not living the life that we need to live, for us not doing well in our own life. See, I did all this stuff for you. I sacrificed all this stuff for you. Okay, so see how it has that duality there? We have the ability to fix and fixate on them, but if all falls through and that doesn't work, or even if that does work and something bad happens to me, or I'm not able to follow up with what I need to follow up, I have someone as a scapegoat and someone to blame outside of myself. And the fifth and last reason that I'm going to talk about in this video of why we go back into toxic relationships is that we're stuck in that program, right? We're unable to realize what the program is. We go from toxic to toxic to toxic relationships, going back over and over again because we have that fear of being alone, right? We have that fear of being alone. We have that fear of finding out who we truly are, even though there's really shouldn't be any fear there. But because we've waited so long to really know who we are, we have that fear, right? The other thing is that we feel that we can save other people and solve other people's problems and fix them, and that makes us feel valuable, even though we need to turn that expertise and that time and energy and that passion around into really solving our own issues and figuring out who we are and working to fix ourselves, right? So that we can enter into a relationship that's not toxic, that's actually really helpful for both people. And so I think lastly, it's about finding that value, right? Finding our own personal value separate from a relationship. And we can't find that going back into a toxic relationship that didn't allow us to be who we need to be, or even be able to find that because we have all of our time and energy fixated on saving that other person instead of really looking within to figure out what we can do and save about ourselves. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments section. Have you been through this situation? Have you gone back into a toxic relationship in a past relationship and realized I went back because of the fear of getting to know myself, or I went back because I didn't really know my value, or I went back because I was saving someone, or I felt like that was where my value was? I'd love to hear some of your thoughts and concerns on the situation, but also if you left a situation like this, what time was the wake-up call? At what point did you decide that you were valuable enough to begin to work on yourself? And I think that this can really help us to understand one another, obviously, but also to get more information, because when we go back to the situation, we go back out of fear. We don't go back for any other reason. And so when we're able to see it as it is, we can begin to dispel fear, which makes us more at peace. And when we're not in a fear factor, we make better decisions. Oh, and by the way, if you like this video and it inspired you and helped you in any way, please give us a like on the video. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. You can also join the channel. There's a members only option. Just push that join button. You can learn all about it. And I create really cool off-the-cuff content, well, similar to the content that I put on the channel. And by the way, don't forget to live your true life.